Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. Let's start off with Brooke. Um, so Brooke is practically freaking out throughout this whole episode. And from yesterday, Liam found out. Well, Hope told Liam about the whole Deacon and Brooke kissing, and this is the reason why she probably fell off the wagon and why she's been acting all skittish and everything like that. So when Brooke comes in there, Brooke is like, you know, don't you? I'm like, yeah, because Hope shouldn't be sitting there keeping secrets for you. Listen, lady, you might, if you want to sit there and trash your own marriage by keeping secrets and doing what you're doing, that's on you. Don't sit there and bring her down by asking her like she did yesterday to keep it from Liam. So, and by the way, Liam and Hope was sitting there talking about the same thing yesterday that they were talking about today. Um, so Brooke gets in there and they're all talking about the whole Deacon thing and everything like that. And at some point, they bring up Douglas. And she's like, we got to sit there and try to make sure we talk to Douglas to make sure he doesn't talk to anybody else about, saying and kissing grandma. And I'm sitting there thinking, so let me get this straight. You want him to lie for you. You're going to put that type of responsibility on a child to try to keep your dirty little secret to save your marriage. Are you kidding me? And so when they sit there and try to look for Douglas, Hope realized that Thomas took him for the day. So now she is panicking. She was like, "Well, if Douglas sits there and tells Ridge, and he finds out, my marriage is going to be over, and I'm never going to get him back, and that's going to be it." And I'm like, "Yep, yep, yep, yep," and yes to all that. I don't understand what he wants to sit there and say. Like maybe if we would have probably told him earlier, he still would have been pissed, and you just would have just took it. But now, I guess I don't know. I guess in this sort of weird way, it's like I don't want to sit there and say she's getting what she deserved because, to be honest, kissing Deacon kind of wasn't her fault. It kind of was, and it kind of wasn't. I mean, she was drinking, so this is something that she would have normally done on a regular, or at least not in this case. But she did have alcohol before she started drinking heavily, so that was a factor. Now, in a way, I do sit there and say it kind of is her fault because it's one thing when you wanted Deacon and Hope to have a relationship, but you kept bringing them by the house over and over and over again, just kept spending more time with him, um, knowing your past with him, knowing that in some ways there was still unresolved, feelings. So to sit there and even tempt that is kind of on you. But and before that whole thing went down, Ridge and Brooke were sitting there talking. And Steffi walks in. And she's like, what's going on? And I'm sitting there thinking, listen, I get your dad lives here, but we do have a doorbell. We do, knock. Like, that is still a thing. Um, so she's asking what's going on and what's wrong. And, Ridge just there and covers for us, like, hey, listen, everything is fine. Everything is good. And kind of changes the subject because Steffi wanted to come over there and see if they were going to have dinner. Brooke tells him to go, that she'll be fine, so Ridge leaves. Now, at some point, Ridge is sitting there, has that look of worry on her face. They seem like they're about to get into it because at this point, Ridge, I feel like he's just sick and tired of defending his marriage and defending himself when it comes towards Brooke with his kids, specifically Steffi. But before things got a little out of hand, Douglas came in. Douglas and Thomas came in, and Douglas was like, I'm worried that, like he said something like, mommy's still upset with me. And he tells them that, he snuck out the house to go get a stuffed animal at night. And they're like, yeah, we can all kind of see why she could be a little, mad about that. But Red is like, what else is going on? Because it's not just that. Like, something else is going on. Why don't you sit there and tell us? And Douglas is like, I saw Grandma kissing Santa. Thomas is like, what? So all of a sudden they're just looking like perplexed, like what is going on? Um, and that's pretty much where it ends. So at this point, ooh, this is gonna be great. I mean, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be annoying a little bit because you know that the secret is not gonna come out right away. At least I don't think it's gonna come out right away. It's gonna take. Oh man, I hope it doesn't take too long. In a lot of ways, watching Brooke sweat about this whole thing is just very entertaining because she could have told him a long time ago instead of sitting there listening to Deacon. She could have just sat there and told him. Now, so two people I can't stand. Take a guess. Take a wild guess of who they are. hmm So Paris and Carter are kissing, and it seems like it's about to go further, but Carter keeps trying to slow things down. He's like, "Hell, listen, I don't think it's a good idea." Um, for a bunch of different reasons. And Paris is like, "Well, I don't see what the problem is," and I'm like, "Yeah, I get that he know." The fact that she came out of her mouth and was like, "I don't see what the problem is." I'm like, "Do you think that Zende would have a problem with it if he found out who you were hooking up with?" It's almost as though it went in one ear and out the other. And Carter, said a couple of things like, "Yo, listen, I messed up with the Foresters big time last time. I damaged a lot of friendships, and it nearly cost him his job." And she still sat there like, "Oh, you're just being cautious," and she still continues to sit there and try to make out with him and force herself on him. Let's just be very clear about that. When he said, "Yo, let's slow down, let's stop," and she kept going on and on and on and on and on. Let's think about that for a minute if it was in reverse. And Carter was being just as aggressive as Paris was. Yeah, exactly. So the only reason why Paris stopped was because Grace called. And Grace called because Grace came to her job looking for her, came to Zende, and found out that Zende was having a date with somebody else. Now, this is after after that, Zende told her about their arrangement about, not being exclusive and, enjoying each other's time, but, seeing other people. So at that point, um, Grace called Paris and was like, "Yo, listen, we need to talk." So Paris stops kissing and, they talk a little bit about Grace and, Carter's like, says something along the lines of, Grace isn't exactly like, she's not a fan of me because of the whole Zoe thing. Now, again, I sit there and look at that whole situation like Zoe was trash, so I don't know what the hell she's talking about. She treated her sister like trash. She treated Carter like trash. Um, yeah. So anyway, she stops finally and she goes to the office. Meanwhile, you got, I'm not gonna lie, I clearly had a different reaction than probably some of the women I was not there watching the scene, but I found this scene hilarious. The fact that Carter was not there sweating out his hormones because, everything was getting all hot and heavy with Paris, to me, I just found that to be hilarious. Um, when Paris goes to the office, this is after Paris did not want, because Grace was like, "Listen, where are you? I'll sit there and meet you where you are." And Paris was like, "No, no, no, no. I'll meet you at the office." Why don't you want her to meet you there? Well, you don't have anything to hide. I mean, right? You good. I mean, what you're doing, it isn't wrong or anything, right? You'll be fine. So she goes over there. She sees him. She sees her, and at that point, they're about to sit there and start talking about the whole Zende thing. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when Zenny was there talking to Grace about this whole arrangement thing, at first, Grace looked at him like kind of funny, like, he's doing wrong by, her daughter. And right then and there, I practically would have threw um, Paris under the bus, being like, yo, this was her idea. So I guess we'll sit there and find out tomorrow about that whole thing. I feel like the only part I didn't really talk about was the Hope talking to Liam about the whole Brooke thing. But I felt like it was just an extended conversation from yesterday, and nothing um, was really that different between yesterday and today. The only thing that really happened was that Liam was like, can you imagine if Ridge walked in on them? Like what would happen when Ridge finds out? And Hope was like, "Oh no, it was fine. It didn't really do anything." She went to bed. He was sleeping on top of the covers with their clothes on, and I'm like, "Oh, when you put it like that, Ridge is not going to have a problem at all because he was sleeping on top of the covers." I Apparently that's the thing now. If you're sleeping on top of the covers, then it don't count, and no one should be upset about it because you know they're not doing anything. And Ridge would totally understand about that. Yeah, okay. Anyway, with that being said, I think that's about it. I recorded this earlier, well, about 12 minutes before, but I didn't like how it came out, so sorry for the delay. But, whenever I do videos, if I don't like how it comes out, or if it video starts to become, I don't want to sit there and say trash, but let's just put it this way. I didn't like how negative I was there sounding during my first recording, so yes. So with that being said, I think that's about it. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.